intelligence, right?
It's all divine intelligence because my brother is here and it's through his phone. It's
I
amazing. My
know.
phone, nothing was working. I don't know why.
I saw Luke. I said, oh, I think maybe he's gonna try to hop on through his brother. Well, the important thing is that you're here, Christian.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. That's it.
Well, welcome to the Instagram live. So, Christian, I figured before we get started and deep dive into some questions, do you want to take a moment to introduce yourself? I was telling a little bit the people before I cut it off and restarted again how I met you quickly, like a few years back, and how I was like really in a different shape and different state of mind back then, many years ago, and how your teachings really enlightened me and shifted in my life in a different direction. But for people who are not aware of you, because a lot of viewers here are from the United States and other places around the world, can you take a moment to introduce yourself, who
Yeah.
you are, what
So,
you do?
like Chantal said, I am Christian Limoges. And I've been a naturopath for like 42 years now. So naturopath means nature's path. It's the path of nature. I have studied like with Dr. Jensen in California. I've been, like practicing, like I said, in Montreal. I practice also in New York. I have a school since 1991. I'm giving like a 3-year program to people, like so that they become naturopath. And I've studied with like amazing people like Dr. Jensen, Dr. Schultz, Dr. Morse, Dr. Walker. Like most of my teachers were like 80, 85, 90 years old. They had like 60 years, 70 years of practice. And since I started practicing, I've been like witnessing, like the ability of the body to heal, to regenerate, to repair by itself when you're giving the body what it needs. So that's basically what I'm doing. Like you said, I'm teaching people. Like one of my teacher, Dr. Jensen, used to say, "I don't believe in prescription. I believe in education." So that's what I've been doing. Like I've been educating people, like on, like the way their body has been designed, how the body works, what is the food that fits our species, because we are a species. And we are the sickest living creature on this planet because we're not living the food that fits our species. And I've been able like to see that when people are shifting their like way of thinking and they're like shifting their understanding also, because we need to understand the problem. Like the reason why human beings are so sick is because they don't understand the way they've been designed. They don't understand the way their body is working. They don't understand their species. So in order to give your body what it needs, you need to understand your species, the way you've been designed. And that's basically what I've been doing with like in my school, as a naturopath in my clinic. And I've been doing it for 42 years.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. I've learned so much from you, and I'm excited to deep dive into the subject of protein tonight.
Woohoo!
Woo! We're
Woohoo!
going to talk about the very controversial subject of protein. But no, I'm super happy that you're here because I think the main thing that you said for me that sticks out is that people are sick, people are unwell. And by the way, guys, we're not medical doctors. We're sharing information based on our own experience and practice, personal holistic practice.
Yeah.
But like the thing that sticks out for me is the fact that it all starts from a misunderstanding and also uh, an overwhelming amount of information coming from so many different places. Like one person says something and the other person has science to back this up, and like it makes a lot of people very confused. And before we started our live, I've been asking for the past week if people have questions, so we're gonna maybe keep a little bit of time to stand towards the end to do a little bit of Q&A, because one of the main things that is sticking out is that people are very confused and overwhelmed with the amount of information. And so yeah, that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to break things down. Tristan's going to break a lot of things down for you guys to understand what is protein? What's the, like, I wrote down a few questions like, what's protein? What's the role of protein? We're going to talk a lot about fitness because that's an area that I work in on a daily basis as a personal trainer. So I think I'm going to start you off with, we're going to go right into it.
Okay.
Can we talk about the concept of macros, the concept of like macronutrients when it comes to fitness, and how there's a very deep obsession, if I can use that word, around protein, right? So
Yeah.
there's this whole thing about making sure that you calculate your macros. You know, you need to have a certain amount of carbohydrates, a certain amount of fat. You need to stay very low fat, be mindful of the carbs. And then the protein is where you're building those guns, apparently. So protein is like 1 gram of protein to 1.5 grams of protein per body weight. So I think I want to start you off with that and see what are your thoughts about macros and that ratio of protein for the human body.
Okay, no problem. So the first thing that you need to understand, that everybody needs to understand, is like our species, like the way we've been designed. So we are not what we eat. So everybody is talking about like what we should eat, what we shouldn't eat, like the amount of protein per body weight, per pound of body weight and everything. But the first thing to talk about is like, like that the fact that we are not what we eat, we are what we digest. And unfortunately, we are also what we don't digest. Okay, so when you look at your body, like if we break down the body very, very fast, the body is made up of organs, glands, and bones and muscles. All of the organs and tissues inside of your body are made up of cells. So you're made of cells, about 100 trillion cells. So you have liver cells, stomach cells, muscle cells, bone cells, heart cells, lung cells. Your body is a bunch of cells, and the cells are made from molecules. And molecules are like two elements combined together, like for example, like NaCl, like sodium chloride, for example. And when we break down the molecules, we end up having like atoms, like calcium, sodium, potassium, molybdenum, boron, like all of the elements in the table of like elements. And then when we break down, we go like smaller than the elements, the atoms, we go into subatomic particles. Okay, and then when we go smaller than that, we go into energy. So your body is energy. Okay, and when we look at your body, what you eat, we talk about fats, we talk about protein, we talk about everything, but we need to understand that everything is energy. Like Einstein said, matter is energy, energy is matter. Tesla said, if you really want to understand the language of the universe, you need to understand it in the concept of energy. We are vibration, we are frequency, we are resonance. So it's the same thing with the things with the food that you're eating, guys. It's the same thing. Like not two bananas are the same, or not two proteins are the same. Every food, everything in this world has an energetic signature. It has a frequency. It has a vibration. So when we talk about micronutrients, we talk about, like, for example, like carbohydrates and fat and protein, like you said, Chantal, but at the same time, like everything has an energetic signature. Now we're going to look like quickly at the way we've been designed. Okay, so our digestive system is 12 times the length of our bowel, of our spine. Okay, so we are the bowels, the digestive system is 12 times the length of your spine. So human beings is the only species on this planet that is confused about what to eat. Okay, so on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, like we have new books about new diets. So here, like as a naturopath, we don't talk about diets. We talk about a way of life according to the way you've been designed. It's very, very, very different. We're not talking about diet. The diet is for like a limited amount of time, because you want to get like something, you have a result that you want to reach. A way of living is just to understand the way you've been designed and created. So when we look at animals living in the wild, quickly guys, very quickly, we look at carnivores. So a carnivorous is a mammal The body is hot and humid, like ours, and their digestive system is 2 times the length of their spine. Why? Because you need to ask the question why. Because the whole universe is the manifestation of a divine mind. It's the manifestation of intelligence written with like capital letters. Okay, so why is very easy to understand. It's a mammal. It's eating only meat. The body is very hot and very humid. Nature, the creator, the divine mind created carnivores with very, very small length of bowel. Their bowels are very, very small because they need to be able to eat, digest, absorb, utilize, and then eliminate the meat that they're eating. Otherwise, if it stays inside of their bowels for too long and their bowels are hot and humid, then the meat is going to start rotting and putrefying, and then it's going to start producing tons of poisons and toxins, and then it's going to back up into their body fluids, and it's going to make the animal sick. Now, when you're looking at a moose, you're looking at a cow, you're looking at like a deer, their digestive system is 32 times the length of their bowel. Why? Again, easy to understand. They're just eating grass, they're just eating fruits, and fruits and grass are not fermenting or rotting, even though the digestive system is very hot and very humid because they're mammals. So they have time to digest, they have time to absorb, they have time to utilize nutrients, and they have time to eliminate. Okay, so we are not carnivores, we are not herbivores. So then, who are we? But then we look at nature again, because nature is the best way to understand the way you've been designed. Like I said, we are the sickest living creature on this planet, despite the fact that we have a lot of knowledge. Well, if we would have the right knowledge, we wouldn't be sick like that. So when you look at nature again and you're looking at animals, then you get one. There's a species on this planet that have been designed exactly like human beings. Not close to human beings, but exactly like human beings. And they're primates. So we look like primates, and we are frugivores. Okay, so a primate has fingers. The only animal on this planet to have fingers. Fingers have been designed to pick like fruits, to pick vegetables. And they have the same length of bowel compared to the length of their spine. So they're eating 46% vegetables. So vegetables are alkaline forming. You see, there's a lot of like things to understand. You have heard in the past that we are an alkaline species. So like vegetables are alkalizing the body. Then they eat 50% fruits. Fruits are alkalizing the body. So 50% fruits, 46% vegetables. So 96% of what they're eating is alkalizing the body. And then they have 4% protein. 4% protein. So think about like primates. Look at a gorilla, for example. Look at their strength, their power. They're just eating nuts and seeds, fruits and vegetables. And they're designed like us, like I said. But they're only getting 4% protein. So this thing about the protein is true. Protein is a building block. You need protein. But you also need vitamins, you need minerals. You need minerals to alkalize your body, like calcium, sodium, potassium, magnesium, and silicon. Every disease, every discomfort that we know is always caused because the body is too acidic. Meat is extremely acidic. So when you're eating meat, you know, like chicken or fish or whatever, you're cooking it, you're baking it, you're grilling it, whatever, and it's dead, you know, like it's dead matter. Your body is made up of like 100 trillion living cells. You're alive. And when people say, you know what, I'm eating like a carnivore because we need the meat and everything, well, I'm always telling them that it's not true. Because I'm going to tell you why it's not true. Because a carnivore is eating everything raw. So eat it raw. That's the first thing. Because when you cook it, you're destroying it. Cooking is never improving a food. And the second thing is that they're eating everything that they just caught. They're catching it. So they need to run after it. They need to, you know, sometimes it takes days for them like to run after it, their prey, kill the prey, and then eat them. And you know that a carnivorous is going to eat like every 3 to 5 to 7 days. So then once he eats the meat, which is raw and coming from a natural environment, not like, like fed with grains and everything like we're doing. You see that the story is huge, and then they are not going to eat like for many days in a row because the body is just going to take the time to digest, to break down the food, to digest, to absorb the nutrients, to utilize the nutrients. And then after days of like digesting this thing and eliminating, then they're going to go again like into, like the hunting, and then they're going to eat again, but they never eat like every day. So you see that when we talk about macronutrients, we really, really focus on protein. But animal protein is very, very acidic, and your body needs a lot of minerals. You need the minerals for your body to be able to alkalize your body, to create the energy. Everything in your body is done with energy. And guys, protein is not an energy food. Your cells are not running on protein.
Yeah,
Okay?
let's talk about that. Yeah.
Your cells are running on fuel. What's the best fuel for your cells? Well, the first one is fructose when you're eating your fruits. So your cells, your 100 trillion cells are running on fuel to create energy. You need a combination of air and fuel to burn it to create the spark of life. That's why even though you have all the vitamins and minerals inside of your body, if you stop breathing, you're going to die. So the first nutrient is oxygen. And most of the people are not getting enough oxygen today because we're stressed out. We're shallow breathers. But at the same time, you see that by eating a lot of protein, your body says, hey, you're giving me a lot of macronutrient, like a lot of protein, but protein is not giving me any energy. But then the body is shifting his pattern of energy, and then he's going to start like using your fat to produce the energy at the cellular level. And that's the reason why we created like this diet of eating a lot of protein all the time, because most of the people in North America are overweight. They're overweight because the body is toxic. They're not eating the right food. And then they started manipulating the body's energy by giving the body only protein. And when you give the body only protein, the body says, you're not giving me enough energy. So I'm going to start converting fat into energy, and then people are losing weight. So it is working. People are eating a lot of meat, a lot of animal protein, and then they're losing a lot of weight. But at the same time, it's manipulating the body's chemistry, because the body becomes more and more acidic. So when I see these people that have been on this diet for like 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, what they say is that I was overweight. I started this diet. I lost the weight. I'm very, very, I was very, very happy to lose the weight, but now it's not working anymore. I'm not feeling good. I have a lot of inflammation inside of my body. I have a lot of discomfort inside of my body. You see, that's the problem. The problem is that once the body has like used the excess fat that you have, you lose the weight. But the reason why you were overweight, for example, or like you had a problem, is because the body was too acidic. And now you're eating a diet that is giving your body like more acidic food. Protein is an acid forming food, big time, guys. You have not been designed to eat like a lion.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't be able to go in the jungle and run after a zebra, jump on his back and just like, like cut off his neck. You wouldn't be able to do that. You need to understand that you've been designed, by an intelligence. And this intelligence has designed you with a certain, like a purpose. You've been designed with organs that, like have the ability to do certain things. So, like we say that function, the way you've been designed, your form is like kind of like justifying the function. Just by looking at the body, we know the best way of eating, because we are frugivores. And don't think that there's no muscle mass with fruits and vegetables. Look at the gorilla. Look at an elephant. Look at a horse. Look at the power of these animals. Look at their musculature, their muscles, and don't forget that most of the animals living a long life on this planet, like are all animals living, like eating plants. Don't forget that.
And it's so important what you said. I was going to ask you, what's protein exactly? Can you break it down for us? What is the role of protein in the body? And like for me, my awareness of protein is that at the base of it all, kind of like what you said, it's amino acids. And the word says it, amino acids. So I think the way that I look at it is like it's any kind of protein has some acidic value to it as well, right? So it's like
Yeah,
when we talk about protein, how do we build muscles? Because that's the whole thing, like you need the protein to build the muscles. But the way I understand it is that at the base of it all, like you said, we're all cells. We're just cells. There's two
yeah,
sides of chemistry. There's the acid side and there's the alkaline side. But
yeah,
then, like when you look at those animals, or like even if I look at, let's say, at people that don't eat any animal protein, that have quite a lot of lean, strong muscle mass in their body, how is that possible then? I think that's one of the main questions. How do you build muscle without eating either animal protein or let's say vegetarian or vegan sources of protein like tofu and legumes and beans in big abundance? Because I also see that there's a big tendency in the vegan community to follow the same trends that is seen in the more carnivore trends, where they're like, oh, make sure you get your 30 to 40 grams of protein every single meal and follow that same regiment of 1 gram of protein per body weight per body weight.
of
But they're doing
weight.
that
Yeah,
with vegan. They're eating huge amounts of tofu or tempeh or lentils or beans. Based on what you just explained and how the human body is built, I'm not so sure personally that that's also a good way to go, even though it's vegetarian or vegan. What are your thoughts on that?
but it's always the same. It's everybody is like freaking out about protein, like it's a myth. Because it's a building block. Protein is a building block, so it means that your body needs amino acids. Your cells do not need protein. If you would inject yourself with like liquid protein or liquid chicken or liquid fish, your cells would not be able to use the amino acids. In reality, your body is made of like I said, of 100 trillion cells, and these cells needs vitamins, they need minerals, they need like antioxidants, they need like different like kind of like phytonutrients, and they need amino acids, guys. They don't need protein. When we say you need protein, it's not true. Even this statement is not true. We don't need protein. We need amino acids at the cellular level. Cells can use only amino acids. They cannot use protein. So when you eat protein, your body will break down the protein into amino acids. In order to be able to break down protein into amino acids, your body will spend tremendous amount of energy because everything in the body is done with energy. So then you're spending a lot of energy like digesting and breaking down the protein into amino acids. And then amino acids will be absorbed in the blood, and then the blood will bring the amino acids to your cells, and your cells will use the amino acids as building blocks in order to repair tissue, repair some damage inside of your body done by free radicals or pollution or whatever. You all know that we're bathing in pollution today. So pollution is damaging the body. It goes into your body through your skin pores, your ears, your nose, your eyes, your mouth. Air supply, food supply, water supply is extremely toxic. Modern agriculture is extremely toxic with all the pesticides, herbicides, fungicides. So the body is literally bombarded by toxins on a daily basis, man-made toxins that have the ability to damage your body. So your body needs to repair. But at the same time, your body needs to repair, and the body repairs with minerals. The body repairs with atoms, with vitamins, with phytonutrients, with antioxidants. It doesn't need only amino acids, like what people call protein. Now look at nature. You know, like look at nature. The animals that human beings are eating, first of all, they're not fed the proper way. They're fed grain. So just go back like 100 or 200 years. Okay? Like see, visualize inside of your mind like a beef, a cow. That's what you're eating. They used to be in prairies, they used to be in the land and eating grass all the time. Today they're like confined inside. They're not moving anymore. They don't go outside anymore. They cannot run anymore. They cannot go to the stream or river and drink good water anymore. They're confined inside, not moving at all. And they're feeding them grains because they want them like to expand, to build, you know, like to become more and more heavy because they're paid by pound of meat that they sell. So this grain is like cultivated with like Roundup, with lots of pesticides, chemicals, all kinds of like man-made chemicals. Again, it goes into their flesh, and the animals are extremely sick. And believe me, I used to live in the, you know, like in the countryside, and I had a lot of like farms around me, and I was visiting like the owners of the farm, and everybody, every single person was complaining about how much it was like costing them on a yearly basis for a veterinarian, like the vet, the cost of the drugs, the medication, because the animals are sick, because they're not fed the right way. They're not living the right way anymore. It's true what I'm saying. We need not to just talk about animal protein. We need to talk about the energy, the
Yeah.
signal, the vibration, the frequency of that meat. Unfortunately, today everybody is putting like all the protein in the same basket. No, 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 no. A protein coming from an animal that have been like living outside, running, having fun, drinking good water in a river, eating the grass, no pesticides, no herbicides, no chemicals like from modern agriculture. His flesh is going to be much better for you than the regular, you know, like flesh that you find like at the grocery store. So what you need to understand is that what you're eating, these animals, we say, I'm eating flesh, I'm eating meat because I'm getting my complete protein. Yeah, but like this animal was eating what? This
Yeah.
animal was eating grass. So if this animal by eating grass can build muscles and can like the body is able like to create flesh and what we're eating, like the meat and the muscles and everything. So why don't you go with fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds? Why? Because when you're eating, like for example, like vegetables, it contains amino acids. When you're eating fruits, it contains amino acids. So do you understand? Like when they're saying that a vegetable will not provide you all of the amino acids that your body need, like what we call a complete protein, they're right, guys. You see, just pay attention. They're right. If I'm just eating lettuce every day, I'm not going to get like all the complete protein that I need, all the amino acids that I need. But if I'm eating a salad with like different vegetables, like 8, 9, 10 different vegetables with some sprouts or whatever, every vegetable, every different vegetable is providing me different amino acids. And by combining all the vegetables together, I'm getting all the amino acids that I need, which we call a complete protein. But here's the trick. I don't need to digest it. I don't need to break it down. I don't need to use my vital energy trying to break down something that is dead because you're cooking your meat. Your living cells, guys, they need living vitamins, they need living minerals, they need living antioxidants, and they need living amino acids. When you're breaking down like chicken that have been cooked like in the oven like for 1 hour at very high temperature, most of the nutrients have been destroyed. The protein have been completely been modified because cooking will never improve like the quality of a food, and you're eating something dead. So just explain to me how something dead can feed living cells.
There's such a disconnect, right, Christian? Like for me, like when I look at nature, right? If I look at a beautiful horse or a cow or even a chicken, my initial thing is not, oh man, I really want to run after that thing and like crack its neck, break it open, and eat it alive. No, my first initial thing is like, I feel love, I feel compassion, I'm attracted towards the animals. You know, you feel, so I find that it's in today's society, there's such a disconnect. Like we call it meat. We don't call it a chicken, a cow, a beef, a lamb, like a baby cow. Like there's a complete disconnection between uh, what we're putting on our plate and what is intuitive and what's in our heart. And by listening to everything that you just said, it makes, that's what started to wake me up many years ago, because I was like, it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense that we are a living being and I'm putting something that's been dead for many, many days. Because, I mean, let's face it, they don't kill the chicken in the morning, package it, and sell it to you, right? It's been dead for a
Yeah.
while. It's been sitting there breaking down, because that's what nature does. It breaks down things that are dead. So
Yeah.
you're eating that stuff on your plate and you're thinking to yourself, wow, I'm really building a lot of muscle mass. I mean, the thing is that it does work. When you do, you know, that's maybe a good question for you, Christian, so that you can explain to people. Does it work when you start to eat a lot of animal protein or protein in general to really bulk up? It does work, but there's a cost to that as well, right? I mean,
You
do you
just
want to talk about why it works and like, yeah, because I mean, it works, but it doesn't really work. But I want you to explain it.
but it's always the same thing. It's like when I was talking about like weight gaining, like losing weight.
Yeah,
We know how to manipulate body's energy. So if
right,
I'm eating like protein all the time, you need to understand that we are not what we eat. We are what we digest and don't digest. When you're eating a lot of protein, you're not a carnivorous. You don't have like the hydrochloric acid in your stomach as strong as carnivorous to be able like to break down the protein. Your body has not been designed to digest protein because your bowels are way too long. It's 12 times the length of your spine, not 2 times the length of your spine. What happens then? You're eating plenty of protein, plenty of protein. Protein goes into your gut, but not being completely digested because your body cannot digest all the protein that you're eating. You're not a carnivorous. That's it. That's all. Then this undigested food, the protein, undigested food, ends up going into your gut. And the gut, guys, is like about 32 feet long. Just like visualize that, feel it. Very long. It's a plumbing system. It's very hot, very humid. Hot, like 98.5, 99, 99.5, sometimes 100 degrees, sometimes more. And it's extremely humid, 100%, because we're drinking liquids. And it's dark. So this is the ideal environment for, like bacteria. And we all know we have a microbiome. We know that inside of our bowels, we have a lot of bacteria. We have a lot of microorganisms. We're becoming like more and more aware of that. In fact, the bacteria that we have in our gut is like we have more bacteria in our gut than the number of cells in our body. And because of that, we have more DNA coming from microorganisms in the gut compared to the DNA of our own cells. And then we're eating the meat, not digesting the meat, like because of many reasons. One of the reasons is because we are not carnivorous. We haven't been designed that way. Ends up going into the gut, not digested. Bacteria takes over because the purpose of bacteria in nature is to break down organic matter. So bacteria takes over, and then it breaks down protein that have not been digested well by the stomach, liver, and pancreas. And this is called, guys, fermentation and putrefaction. Just focus on that. This is called fermentation and putrefaction. So this is the way nature is breaking down like meat. When you're driving a car like in the countryside, and then you stop like for whatever, stop sign, whatever, and then you smell this very bad, strong, putrid odor, you know that in the ditch, probably that there is an animal putrefying, and like nature is just breaking down that animal, that the animal is dead and just decomposing. Same thing is happening inside of your body. You're eating a lot of protein, you cannot digest it well because you're not carnivorous, ends up going into your gut. Microorganisms takes over to further break down and decompose the undigested protein. And then you get gas, you get bloated, you get like, like inflammatory, like bowel disease that we see more and more. Don't forget what I said in the beginning. Human beings are the sickest living creature on this planet. So when Chantal was saying, yes, we get bulkier, we get bigger. Why do we get bigger? Because we eat a lot of protein. The protein is fermenting and rotting, producing poison. My body starts being flooded by undigested protein molecules, uh, some toxins. It's called scatol, ammonia. These toxins are extremely powerful. They back up into my body and they create inflammation. At the same time, because I am not what I'm eating, but I am what I am digesting, absorbing, and eliminating, I'm not eliminating well because meat has no fiber. We've been designed to eat fruits and vegetables mostly. That's why we have a long digestive system. So then my body is flooded by toxins. We accumulate toxins. Toxins are matter, so they take space. So then your muscles are getting bigger because you're training. You're training, so your muscles are getting bigger. But at the same time, the body is becoming extremely acidic. The body is becoming extremely like toxic because you are a frugivore eating, like a diet. You have a way of eating that do not respect your species. It's like, like when I had my farm, I used to have a place like in the Eastern Township, and I used to have like horses and goats. It's like if I would have like fed my horses and my goat meat, you
Yeah.
like they're not designed to have that. They're not designed to have that. Like they would get sick. They wouldn't eat it anyway because they know their instinct knows that this is not good for them. But like Chantal was saying, you can build muscles. You're gonna become extremely big for sure. If you're asking me to be like, like Hulk Hogan or like the Incredible Hulk, like these guys with huge muscles, they have a hard time like going through the doors. Then you need to have like a lot of protein because the protein is going to create a lot of acid inside of your body. You're going to start like gaining weight. Your body, like think about it like a sausage. Okay, you have a sausage, it's empty. The body has a skin. Inside of the skin, you have all of your glands and organs and body fluids. And so when you start accumulating a lot of toxins, they take space. So then your body starts to bulk up, okay? And then when you put like a lot of meat and a lot of stuff in the sausage, in the beginning, the sausage, when it was empty, it was very flexible. But as the sausage is getting more and more, like filled with like the meat and everything, then it doesn't bend anymore. And then it becomes extremely rigid and it becomes extremely stiff. So that's what we see also. We see that these guys, the people eating a lot of meat and everything, as they're building big, huge muscles, they're manipulating like their genetics or whatever by eating a lot of protein, like then automatically there is a price to pay. The body will become more acidic. Sometimes they have some skin problems. Sometimes they're going to develop like joint problems. Sometimes they're going to start getting like inflammation inside of their body because the body is becoming way too acidic and the body is like kind of like burning inside because acidity is like an internal fire. And don't forget, guys, all of the disease that we know, like Chantal was saying, we're not medical doctors. All of the diseases that we know, all of the discomfort of human beings, all of the pain and the suffering of human being is always caused when the body becomes too acidic. So discomfort, disease, problems are developing only when the body is too acidic. When the body is clean, when the body is alkaline, and when the body is like very well oxygenated, disease, discomfort, problems cannot develop.
Yeah, that's wow, that's so good. I love the way you explain it. And you're talking about that, it reminds me also like for me personally, like I find that the muscle mass that I have at this point in my life I don't need to like work out necessarily to keep it. It's there. I know that it's like cleaner, it's a cleaner muscle mass. I find that when you know, let's say when you look at people that take in a lot of animal protein or protein in general, if I don't know, God forbid something happens and they can't train for a week or two, they start to shrink. They're like they're like they're melting away in like 2 weeks. So I'm like the way I see it is it's not something that I don't want to say it's not real muscle mass, but it's you know, if it's melting, it's dropping down. The body's like the way I see it is it's taking this time to support you to say thank God. You know, he's not shoving all this stuff inside. I can start to get rid of, you know, this inflammation or whatever is like being kept into those tissues of the body, right? Because we look at our body as if everything is separate somehow. We're like, oh, I have a headache or
Yeah,
I have issues with my
absolutely.
kidneys, but it's only the kidneys, you know, everything else is fine. Like we're everything is into different compartments. And I think it's the same thing when it comes to muscles. Like I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, I'm not interested in building like muscle. I'm interested in how can I live in a way that's in alignment with my species. And when you break it down the way you did, there's no place for argument because you can't argue with nature. I mean, that's just, it's a blueprint. And the blueprint is there. And that is all the proof that we need, really. That's the way I see it. I think everything else is about deprogramming ourselves. That's another aspect of it because we're so programmed, you know, everywhere it's like protein and eat this and it's good for your muscles and have dairy products because it builds strong bones. And it's like, we could talk about this for like hours, but to me, it makes a lot of sense the way you're talking about it, you know, like about muscles and how we become inflexible. I've experienced it. I personally have experimented this on like so many levels. Like when you eat a very not diet, I don't like that word, but when your food intake is mostly like fruits and vegetables and living foods, like I would say 90 to 95%, you don't even need that much food during the day anyways to function properly. And you have so much energy. You know, your sleep is incredible. And you're more flexible, you're more mobile, you don't have to stretch for like 15 hours a week. That's one thing. Like I used to practice yoga all the time to maintain my flexibility. And now I don't even need to do that. I'm just flexible. I'm just more mobile. I think this whole concept of like your image of like filling up the sausage, that's what it is. And I feel anyways that the whole protein thing at the end of the day, because I remember one time you told me it all depends on what's your goal. What's your goal?
Yeah,
If your
that's it.
goal is to like be big like that, fine. But if your goal is to feel good, right? To be vital, to live grace, like to age gracefully, because we're all aging, we're all like moving on in life, like evolution. But how do you want to live? And I think that's so good. When you asked me that question, I still remember. I was in your office and you said, Chantal, what's your goal? It really comes down to what your goal is, right? So
Yeah, and you need to, you know, like it's like when I've been following like a lot of professional athletes, like you know, like football players, hockey players, and you know, like they come to me, they're like loaded with protein because that's what like their coaches are asking them to eat. You know, every new season they need to come like with like 10, 15 pounds of like more and more muscle mass and everything. But like you said, it's a price to pay. You know, like these guys are like, you know, they always say, Christian, before training, we need to drink like energy drinks in between periods when we're playing hockey. Everybody is drinking like their energy drinks because we're like completely exhausted. So we're pushing, we're pushing, we're pushing. For sure, you're pushing because they're eating a diet. They're eating. They have a way of eating that do not fit their species. It doesn't respect their species. The good things is that they're always moving their body, so they're moving their lymphatic system, they're moving their blood, they're oxygenating their body big time and everything. But at the same time, they come to see me. like they have aches and pains, they have like lower back problems, they have joint problems. And every time, like it's always the same thing. It's always the same story. I explain the same, like I'm explaining right now. And they go on this like eating fruits and vegetables and cleaning the body and removing obstructions, because the equation of vitality is like vitality equals energy minus obstruction. So it's easy to understand that the more toxic my body is, the more I need something like to pick up my energy, because there's so many obstructions inside of my body, like kind of blocking my body fluids, like moving inside of my body and everything. You need to understand, guys, that your body is a living, organic machine that is self-healing, self-repairing, and self-regenerating. And it's a living machine. So I'm driving my car, I get hit like on my wing or whatever. Well, it's like I get like a crash, like my wing is done. I need to repair it because my car is not living. I need to change the wing. My body is not the same at all. My body, I break a bone, it heals by itself. I scratch my skin, cut open my skin, it heals by itself. But every time they come and I'm explaining the whole thing, they have a doubt, because for them, bigger is better. But then they start doing it because they don't feel good, and then they lose weight. Like you said, sometimes I put them on fruits and vegetables for 2 weeks in a row, and they say, Christian, I'm melting down, Christian, I'm disappearing. Because their muscles are full of junk. That's why they're big. And that's why you need to train all the time to keep the muscle fibers strong, because otherwise, if you stop training very fast, your muscle is just going to disappear and convert into fat, because it's toxic. Toxins convert into fat. Because you're keeping your muscle fibers like very strong, because you're lifting weights all the time, everything becomes strong. But at the same time, the muscle is loaded on digested protein and toxins and dirt and all kinds of stuff coming from your food that you're not digesting and eliminating well. And every time it's always the same. They say, I'm sleeping so much better. I wake up in the morning, I'm full of energy. I go to the gym because sometimes in the summer I'm training with these guys. They say I'm faster, I'm stronger, I'm 10, 15 pounds underweight, like less weight than before, but I am faster and stronger, and I recoup much faster than before. So you see, when people come to see me,
trap? Yeah. What's the
when
trap?
people come to
Yeah.
what?
I was gonna say, and then what's the trap? Because I've been there too. I'm like, oh my God, I feel so good. And then after you're like, oh, but wait a minute, I need to build more muscle. So then you go
Yeah,
back, you start eating more protein, you
yeah,
start doing this, then you start to feel like crap again. Then you're like, oh my
yeah,
God, my head, I have headaches.
yeah.
But it's
Exactly.
the
It's because,
programming.
like you said, it's because we are not connected anymore. Like we don't understand nature anymore because we're living in big cities. So we don't see nature, we don't see animals, we don't see like the vitality of an animal. We don't see the way nature has been like going on like this, like for millions and millions of years. And don't forget that if you read China's study, which is like a very long study, like that have been done for like 30 or 32 years, following human beings like all over the world, like China's study is very clear. The reason why people are developing a lot of chronic diseases is because they're eating way too much animal protein. It's
Yeah.
they know this is something that we know. It's not a study of 6 months, and it's not a study in the lab. It's a study that we've been doing like with people going all over the world, interviewing people and looking at people and looking at the way they eat and their like way of like living, because it's not only what you eat, it's also the way you're living. Like it's like the blue zones. Like blue zones, like in the world, are like places where people are living like very, very long life, like 100, 105, 110 years old, but they're like very healthy. And what we see is that they're eating like minimal amount of animal protein, very, very like low protein intake, lots of fruits and vegetables, like walking every day, going up and down the hills, having a very good community, and living in a natural environment and living close to the soil. So they're not
Yeah.
eating food that have been packaged. They're not eating food that have been processed. They're eating food that like nature is providing them. And they're
Yeah.
living an amazing life, like very, very healthy life and very strong. Even mentally, they're there. Even when they're 105, 110, 112, they're there. Like the body is working well. So when people come to see me, guys, and they have a problem, whatever the problem is, it's always because the body cannot function at its full potential because the body is toxic. It's always the same thing. It's like a machine. If you want a machine to work well, you need to clean it. You need to keep it clean. Any machine that is not clean will start having problems. The body is exactly the same. That's why you have 4 channels of elimination. You have your bowels, you have your skin, you have your lungs, and you have your kidneys. And these 4 organs of elimination are the biggest organs of the human anatomy, meaning that the most important thing for the body to be healthy and vital is to be clean. Like
Amen. So good.
sometimes I'm fasting. Like about 2, 3 weeks ago, I fasted for 10 days. I have more energy when I'm fasting than when I'm eating food. Why?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I'm eliminating obstructions. I'm not eating any food that is asking my body to break down the food and to utilize my own energy trying to break down the food. So my body is just, all of the energy is focusing on cleansing. And as my body is cleansing, my brain is like much faster. My body feels much better. I'm sleeping better because my body becomes cleaner.
Yeah, and you don't need as much sleep. I noticed that too. I don't need as much sleep as I used to. Uh, yeah, my energy is through the roof.
Yeah,
Christian, I love talking with you. Can I ask you 2 quick questions? Because we're getting 2 questions here. I don't want to take too
yeah.
much of your time, but just to wrap all this up, what are your thoughts on whey protein and collagen? That's a big thing right now. Whey protein and collagen.
Okay. So we observe human beings. That's what we do. So we're just observing human beings. We're like taking X-rays of the bones, this and that, and then we observe what a modern way of life is doing to human beings. It's damaging human beings because we're living in kind of environment that is toxic. Like I said, water supply, food supply, air supply. Like we're putting all kinds of chemicals everywhere. So the body is damaged by this like human chemistry, man-made chemistry. And when the body becomes very acidic, when the energy goes down, when your energy comes from drinking coffee or like smoking a cigarette or drinking like an energy drink, it's because your body is no longer able to produce its own energy. The reason why you're not able to produce your own energy is because you're way too acidic. That's why we need electrolytes. Electrolytes means electricity. My body is electric. My body is electric, and in order for the electricity to travel all over my body, I need minerals that are like kind of connecting this electricity. Like we need calcium, sodium, potassium, magnesium, silicate. We call them electrolytes. When you're eating meat, there's no electrolytes in meat. It's acidic. So because we're lacking these minerals, then the body can no longer produce its own collagen. So then we
Mm.
say, as people age, the body's ability to produce collagen goes down. Yeah, but why? Because the body is too acidic. Don't forget, guys, what damages your cells, and your body is a bunch of cells, trillions of cells, is acidity. So we have one cause, acidity, in the human body. When we talk about the physical body, human beings are also mental, emotional, and spiritual. But right now, I'm just focusing on this body, this physical body. This physical body, in order to be strong, needs to be clean, alkaline, okay, and full of oxygen. That's the reason why your cells are able to do like their kind of work, everything that they're supposed to do on a daily basis. When I'm not producing collagen anymore, it's because my body is too acidic, my cells are damaged, and I am missing good quality organic, because organic is very important, without the use of pesticides and herbicides and whatever, vitamin C. So you need to understand that the body is able to produce its own collagen. When your body is very alkaline, and when the body has a lot of vitamin C. Unfortunately, when people are eating a lot of meat and they're eating like the modern way of like eating, everything is cooked, everything is microwave, everything is processed, like everything is like missing everything. It's foodless food that you're putting inside of your body. So then your body is losing its ability to produce its own collagen.
Hmm. It's very
So then
interesting.
you go in a health food store and you buy collagen. This collagen is coming from where? It's coming from animals like fish or whatever. Imagine how they're producing it. Imagine like what they need to do in order like to take it from an animal, put it like in a capsule form or liquid form or powder form or whatever, and that human beings can take it. Imagine how processed this collagen is.
Yeah. It
So,
comes from
but listen to
skin.
this.
Ugh.
But listen to this. If your body has the ability to produce collagen by like moving your body, exercising your body, eating the good food, keeping your body alkaline, having good thoughts and everything, I'm talking about a good way of living, and you're taking collagen, guess what happens? The
It
body
stops.
says, I don't need to produce collagen anymore because it's coming from the outside. So it's making your body like kind of like lazy.
Yeah, it's like all the supplements, right? Same thing. It's
Supplement
yeah.
hormones. When people are taking hormones, the glands are saying, I'm not going to produce hormones anymore because he's taking everything in a pill form. So the body shrinks. Glands are shrinking and not producing hormones anymore. So you become dependent on what you're taking, but you're not teaching your body to do it by itself because your body has been designed to heal, to regenerate, and repair by itself. So whey is the same. Whey is extremely manipulated. The way we're doing it, it's like cooked at very high temperature. It's extremely processed to bring you like what we call like a pure protein. But again, guys, we are not what we eat. We are what we digest, and we are what we don't digest. And the way, when I was studying in the States, I remember my teacher giving whey to people that were very sick. I remember seeing these people being very sick, and in a matter of a week or two, just starting to feel much better by the fruits, by the vegetables, and by the whey. So he had a 400 acres piece of land, like huge farm. He had a lot of like goats. He was feeding his goats like organic food, like grasses and everything. Nothing was sprayed. They were giving milk. He was making organic, raw, unpasteurized
Wow.
cheese. So the cheese was living, not pasteurized and killed like we do today. And when the cheese was leaking all the liquid, this liquid is whey. But this liquid that was fed to patients that were extremely sick was living.
Organic.
It was processed and it was coming from animals being always outside, walking outside, running outside, feeling being free, eating good food, living a normal life for a living being because they're not animals, they're living being like we are a living being. And this way was powerful. It was like, like kind of like having this life principle. It
Yeah.
was alive. It was like coming from an animal that was very well fed with like food that was growing without the use of any chemicals. They understand the way that you take comes from like what are the animals producing this kind of milk that they're making the whey from it. How do they make the whey? The whey is like super, like cooked and very high temperature, like super like processed, and it's not good at all. It's very, very, very acidic. It doesn't contain any more the electrolytes and all of the alkalinity that you need in order to build energy, and then the energy can repair and regenerate your body. It's not the same thing at all. It's like in a big, big container, huge, and it's a powder, and it's completely man-made because you cannot find this stuff in nature.
Yeah, I think for me, like everything that we've been discussing about protein, I feel like it comes down to a lot of us have been trained to want to have a quick fix, a quick way to go from point A to point B. Instead of taking the time to backing off a little bit, maybe meditating, reflecting, connecting with nature, understanding, like you're explaining to it, how the body works. When you understand how the body works and how we're made, it's very simple. I mean, it's very clear what we need to eat. I mean, just look at like mother's milk. What's the percentage of protein in mother's milk? It's like less than 1%, right? Or something like that. 1% or
Yeah,
less.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like,
very low, very low.
it's very, very low. So, I mean, for me, all of this subject around protein, I'm so happy that you were able to explain it in your, I was going to say your genius way, because you have a way of explaining it so that people understand that it all comes down to the same foundation, right? It's like we need to look at, we are human beings, how we're made, and what's the best food for our species, which is what you explained earlier, Christian. So, like, if
Yeah.
someone is looking to not necessarily take a shortcut, but to really say, you know what, I want to go back to basics. I want to regain my health. I want to live a good quality of my life. I want to, I mean, we don't know how long we have to live. I mean, that's another story. But whatever years I have on this planet, I want to live in harmony with my body. I want to live in harmony with this world. So if someone was to come to you and ask you, what would be the first step? So if you were to say to someone, what's the first step on my journey to, let's say, to vitality, and if we can use the term healing, what would be the first step for you that you would share
Well,
to
very,
people?
very easy to understand. Like energy doesn't come from food because people are eating food like nonstop, and everybody's complaining of low energy. Energy, vitality, well-being comes from a clean body. Energy comes from being clean inside, because then my blood is working well, circulating well. There's no obstructions blocking my fluids. My cells are clean, so they can work very well. They're not obstructed by all kinds of toxins and poisons and whatever. And what you need to understand is that we are frugivores. So we are supposed to eat, like I said, 50% fruits, 46% vegetables, 4% protein. Today, like human beings, like when they come to me, they have like their calorie intake, like on a daily basis, is about like 45% protein, because everybody is like afraid of missing protein. That protein goes into their gut like undigested. It starts rotting and fermenting, producing all kinds of poisons and toxins that are backing up in their body fluids and making them sick. That's the reason why they come to see me,
Yeah.
because they don't understand. They're doing what people are telling them to do. They're doing what like social media is telling them to do, and they're not feeling good at all.
Yeah.
So you need to clean your body. You need to go back to, you need to rewild yourself. You need to go outside. You need to enjoy the sun. You need to walk barefoot. You need to eat as you're supposed to eat,
Yeah.
you've been designed
Yeah.
according to your species. Fruits in the morning to lunch, big salads, lunch and supper time, 80% salad, 20% some cooked foods. You can still eat some flesh if you want to, but make sure that it's grass fed and make sure that it's coming from a farm where the animals are outside and they're healthy animals, because healthy animals produces healthy flesh. That's for sure. That
Yeah.
is for sure. The problem with the protein is not only protein. It's because of the way animals are
Yeah.
fed and are treated. I'm telling you, if you would visit farms, you would freak
Oh
out
my
seeing animals
God.
being
Yeah.
completely confined inside,
Yeah.
like not moving anymore, and just peeing and shitting on the floor and just eating nonstop, like grains and hay that have been grown with like all kinds of chemicals. So clean your
Yeah.
body, be aware of it, clean your body. And like I said, don't forget, 50% fruits, 46% vegetables, guys, 4% protein. What do we eat? What do human beings eat most of the time? They're eating a lot of protein and they're eating a lot of complex carb. So now this is a new thing. Complex carb, lots of bread, lots of pasta, lots of muffins and cookies, lots of like flour stuff and baked flour. And this stuff is gluey and sticky, guys. So you see, the equation is very easy. We're eating a lot of gluey, sticky stuff. It goes down in our gut and it makes our gut super gluey and sticky. This sticky, gluey stuff is slowing down our metabolism. Then we eat protein on top of that that gets stuck inside of our bowels because our bowels are gluey and sticky because we're eating a lot of bread, pasta, bagels, muffin, cookies, and croissant and all that stuff. And we're not supposed to eat that stuff. And then it gets stuck in our gut. That's the reason why when we look at human beings today, we see most of the people are bloated. Most of the human beings today are like overweight, 75% in North America. And you see this big tire around the waist. It's the body telling us where the problem is. The problem is in the gut.
All right, my God, Christelle, we have to do another live about this stuff. I'm looking at the time. I don't want Instagram to cut us off. I want to say thank you so much for everything. One last quick thing. Where can people find you? Do you still do consultations online? Do you do consultations still? Yeah?
Yeah, I'm doing consultation. You need to go to limogeshealth.com.
Perfect. I'm gonna put it. Yeah.
So limogeshealth.com. Then you have like a you have a calendar, and then you just like set up your appointment with me, and then you tell me like how you feel, and I'm asking you questions, and then I'm gonna make you understand that your body is like sending you messages, like what people are calling symptoms are in reality messengers. Like the body is like never making a mistake. We are making a mistake by not giving the body what it needs. And then the body is sending you pain and discomfort, telling you that your inside is no longer clean, it's no longer well fed, and it's not getting what it needs. That's the reason why you don't feel good.
Yeah, the body is so beautiful. Oh my God. It's like so magnificent.
The body never makes a mistake.
Never makes a
Never
mistake.
makes a mistake.
It took me 10 years of Christian telling me this for me to really finally get it.
Yeah,
but I get it
no
now.
problem. But you got it. You got it.
One more thing I want to tell people also is that you have this beautiful school. People can attend. You have English and French, and you also have a fast track option, so people can attend your school to get to learn about naturopathy and to become a naturopath. So I'm gonna put the Christian's information for the US. I mean English and French. I'm going to put his link as well. You can reach out to him. He can really help you. It's phenomenal, obviously. And you need to rewatch this many, many times. Trust me, you cannot hear this information enough. I've been repeating and hearing this stuff over and over and over. And then finally, there comes times where it sinks in at a soul level, it's not like an intellectual level. It just, everything aligns and makes sense.
That's
so thank you. I can finally
don't try to understand everything. Just let your body process the information.
Yeah,
because
now I can take
information is energy, guys. Everything is energy.
Yeah. And I can take this video now and just send it to clients and people and be like, here's how he breaks it down. Now you go watch this. Keep
Absolutely.
it simple.
Yeah. It's very simple. We are complicating everything.
Oh my God. And we have so much fear about everything.
Yeah, because
the best way
we don't get it.
Yeah. The best way I can say is try it out.
Yeah.
Just try it out for yourself for 30 days.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
See what happens.
You need to integrate it in your body.
Yeah, exactly. Christian, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Chantal, thank you for inviting me. It was fun. I loved it.
Super fun. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
And I'll catch you soon. Thank you.
Guys.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.